last week we had a conversation with a gentleman, Jeff DeGenova, and we talked about one of his affiliate companies called Mind Seekers. And I have spent more time on this website. Guys, this is so interesting. Did you know that there's 100 million landmines on the planet right now? That every 19 minutes someone is affected by a landmine, and it could take, with the existing technology, and what they say is this: if you've got a guy that is fully girded and has all the experience in the world, okay, of clearing mines, if I'm not mistaken, right now it takes him about a full day to cover, I think it's like 35 meters or something like that. It would take us 600 years to clear the planet. So I'm going to bring on the line here. Mike Kendrick is the founder of Mind Seekers, an affiliate company in the UK. Mike, how are you, sir? Good to see you.
No, it's nice to talk to you, sir.
So tell me, this is the most interesting website I have seen, and you got to know, being a guy that makes a living on radio and TV, that I'm always surfing the net for more information. Is it true that over 80% of all land designated as mine is in fact cleared? So those places in those countries that they say have mines in it, in fact don't have mines in it, but you still have to check anyway, correct?
Well, that's almost correct. And yes, over 80% of the mine that is designated as mined is in fact not mined, but the threat is there, so you can't use it.
Yeah. So let's talk about your company, Mind Seekers, and kind of what the ideology is, and let's talk about how you do it.
Okay.
First of all, how did you start the company? What gave you the idea?
Well, to be honest, it was Princess Diana that gave me the idea, because she was a great advocate of an anti-landmine campaign, and of course she was a friend of Virgin's when I was in the Virgin group, and she inspired me. And because we were in the airship business, and we'd just done a film for Baywatch, actually, we were towing Richard Branson behind an airship, creating a world record for water skiing behind an airship, and that gave me the idea of dragging some equipment by airship and exploding mines. So I took that to the British Ministry of Defence, who said, look, we've got that. That's a great idea, Mike, but it's a little primitive. We got some equipment here. It's cost us £300 million to develop. We'll give it you for humanitarian purposes. It's called ground penetrating radar, and we think, because an airship is a vibration-free platform, that it would be able to carry it and pick out landmines from the air.
And by the way, for our television audience, and by the way, Mike, we're on TV and radio, so when I refer to that, for our TV audience across the country, we're actually showing the website that shows the Mind Seeker airship. It's a blimp. It's a blimp. In our parlance, it's a blimp. It's like a Goodyear blimp.
It's an airship.
It's an airship.
I like airships. Sounds so much
it
better
does.
over there, doesn't
it sounds like Star Trek.
Sorry we left.
I like them too.
Yeah, but then it also shows the sample output from your Kosovo trial. Tell us about that.
Well, what we did with the MOD in Britain is we tested landmines on the ground, and then with an airship, and then of course the big test was, well, that's okay, but can you find them buried underneath the earth in a live minefield? So we had a fly to find. We knew where there was a minefield used for training purposes, where every mine was, the location of every mine was known. So we flew down to Kosovo in the airship. Took us 6 weeks, and flew over the area to see if we could find all the mines. And lo and behold, we found 100% of the buried mines, and perfect. It's all on our website. Perfect signals from them.
So the idea behind this is that you guys have a new technology, because and when I first set this up, let's talk about the existing technology. Was I right? It takes an experienced man, woman, a technician about a day to do 35 meters.
Yes, about 35 meters per day. So if there's 100 million mines, you can work it out. It'd take an army crawling on their stomachs 3 times around the planet, and it'd take hundreds of years.
You know,
that's the fact.
Yeah. And I guess the frightening part of this thing is that it's for those countries that have land that can be used for schools or for infrastructure, farming. You can't do anything until you figure out where the.
Is it pressure that triggers these things, or is it actually come in contact with it? I mean, can you just...
Usually landmines are detonated by some weight. So if it's an anti-personnel mine, it's the weight of a human foot. And of course, They don't distinguish in post-conflict areas. They don't distinguish between a soldier's foot and a civilian's foot. They blow anybody up.
Yeah, right.
And I'll just correct you with one thing, that there's 100 million mines estimated buried beneath the surface of the earth in post-conflict areas. That takes no account of the millions, in fact 1 million a year, new landmines going on in conflict areas like Iraq and Afghanistan. So when that's all finished, there's going to be a lot more work to do.
So these are just the ones that are in post-conflict areas. We're not even talking about the stuff that we see in Iraq and Afghanistan. Is that what you just said? Really?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What's the technology called, Mike?
Well, there are two technologies, Sully. One is ground-penetrating radar, which is a technology that's been tried and tested, and it works, and we've got fabulous research and results on that. And that takes pictures, if you like, signals, collects signals of what's underneath the ground. But we were the first, and we are the first people to deploy it on an aerial platform. We've moved away from blimps now, miniaturized it so it can be carried on light aircraft. And basically, it flies up to 4 square kilometers a day, and it picks out the signals of the landmines beneath the surface of the earth. But what we have got, which is totally unique, is we've layered that with some photomosaicing, and we lay that on the top of the radar pictures, so it gives us a geographical map of where the mines are. Because if you can look at radar signals all day long, but you need, if you're going to put men on the ground to isolate them, to have geographical references.
Does it show other stuff too? Maybe like a diamond ring somebody lost a couple hundred years ago, or a couple of skulls, maybe.
Well, funny thing you should say that, but we are actively involved in a discussion at the moment to find Kimberley dikes, which are diamond-bearing streams. But that is another commercial opportunity, because it does find those too.
The name of the company, Mine Seekers. Mike, what's the business model here? Because there is a case for business here. There is a, you said the UN claimed there's 100 million landmines under the ground in post-conflict areas. There's about 800,000 square kilometers of land that are designated as mine areas. That would be about a $50 billion cost to clear that stuff. Is that basically the opportunity here?
Yes, we think it's about, according to the UN anyway, it's about a $50 billion industry. But, we want to compress that 600 years to about 25 years, and we can do it with the technology that we have. No one else has it yet. They will catch up, but we think we've got a 2 or 3 year lead. We call this compassionate capitalism, because it makes money for the investors, makes a good return for the investors, and it creates wealth in the local community. And that's what business is all about, isn't it? And we see, our airborne system able to do 4 square kilometers per day, per unit. And so we're looking over the next 4 years at about $150 million business. And that's been pretty conservative, with a utilization of around 25%. So there's a lot of room for growth on that.
And that's if you don't find any diamonds.
That's just mines.
You see, that's the interesting thing. It goes way past humanitarianism here.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Because there is a huge commercial element here. Because, of course, where there are landmines, it stops you growing food. And that has a huge economic problem, creates a huge economic problem for any country affected by landmines. But it's more than that, because in Mozambique, for instance, there are gas and oil fields that are mined, and the people that own the concessions, the big international companies, can't get this oil and gas flowing because it's mined. So we are offering, and we're talking in Mozambique with the help of the Mozambique government, to these oil and gas companies, and our job is going to be to fly over these oil concessions, identify where the mines are, and more importantly, actually, where the mines aren't, so that they can get on with their seismic studies and start producing and get the gas and oil flowing and help that economy.
So that's a
huge market.
There's a win-win. You're affecting economies. It's a good business model for your company. And then, of course, there's a lot of ancillary benefits. Is there any competition out there? This show's 16 years old. I have interviewed every captain of industry that you can imagine. And I can tell you, I've never seen this business model yet. And I come from a venture capital background where I sat in an office all day watching deals come across my desk. Is there any competition for this?
The competition is people prodding the ground with bayonets, trying to find them.
Oh.
And, you know, it costs about, and these figures are facts, they're not my opinion, it costs much more than $1 million per square kilometre to isolate the mines and find them and dig them up. But the cost of digging a mine up is $10. The cost of finding them is huge.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. We find them and take all that cost out.
You talk about a processing factory here, and I've only got about a minute left here, but you have acquired a processing factory that employs 120 people. Tell us what that does real quickly.
Well, basically, like oil, there are other businesses affected, and one of the areas in Mozambique is a plantation, a coconut plantation. There are 1.5 billion coconuts there, and you can't pick them because you can't get at them because of the mines. So we've bought that factory, and we are actually now, we're under revenue already. We're going to do $3 or $4 million this first year. I was telling Jeff DeGenosa, our CEO, about this today because we just got awarded a contract for desiccated coconuts, and it was unexpected, although it is in our budget.
It seems like there's a ton of ancillary benefits going on here. Interesting company. Mike, thank you so much. I appreciate you staying up late. He's calling from the UK.
Oh, should ask
Mike
him about
Kendrick,
that.
the founder of Mind Seekers.